Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. I'm Don Fisher. Across northwestern Montana, grizzly and black bears are starting to pack on the pounds before they den for winter. And as MTN's Nicole Miller reports, she spoke with wildlife officials who say sightings are becoming more and more frequent because of this throughout the Flathead.
This time of year, bears have a tendency to kind of come down and they can find some of the fruit trees that are in the neighborhood.
With cooler temperatures and shorter days, bears are preparing for hibernation and sightings are not uncommon.
They're really trying to put on a lot of weight, and that's why they're really focused on eating. So they're looking for foods, and that's where they're seeking out some of these places where normally you think they would want to avoid in terms of like people and stuff, but that attractant is so strong and the drive to put on weight is so strong that they can come into areas that are fairly heavily populated.
Last October, a man and his daughter survived a bear attack in the Haskell Basin area near Whitefish. While walking their dogs, they surprised a female grizzly bear with 2 cubs feeding on a deer carcass.
Most of the attacks, especially with grizzly bears that occur, are because of a surprise encounter or a sow defending its cubs. So if it knows you're coming, there's a tendency for them to want to move out of the way. If you find an area where there's a carcass, just avoid that, don't go in there.
Wildlife officials encourage folks to make a lot of noise while out hiking. If you do encounter a bear, they say bear spray is your best defense. You can find bear spray at almost any outdoor store. A can will run you about $40 to $50, but make sure to check the expiration date. If it passes, it might not be as effective. And a can of this is worth its weight in gold and could save your life. In Kalispell, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
And FWP offers other tips to keep bears away if you live near bear country. They say as fruit ripens around your property, you should pick it immediately. Always take out the garbage the day it is going to be picked up. And if you have chickens or other animals near your home, consider an electric fence to keep them safe and drive the bears away. And call FWP to report any bear sightings. The owner of a controversial water bottling plant seeking a water use permit will not be testifying before the Montana DNRC. The Montana Artesian Water Company had been preliminarily approved to have a permit from the DNRC to draw up to 700 acre-feet of groundwater a year. That comes out to more than 500,000 gallons a day. At the hearing last month before the DNRC, the highly contested case saw 3 days of expert testimony from both sides. Owner Lou Weaver was expected to testify at the hearing on day 3. But because of a medical emergency, he was not able to. However, Weaver's attorney said he will not testify now, although he is not required to. The hearing examiner has set a date of October 31st for closing briefs in the matter, and the record is now closed. The hearing examiner now has up to 90 days to make a decision, which can be appealed by either party in district court. And we may be in for another shift in the weather this weekend after a mostly sunny week. For more on that, let's take it over to Chief Meteorologist Erin Yost for her first forecast. Erin?
Yeah, but first let's talk about how awesome today was in Kalispell. 70 degrees for that high. That's 10 degrees above average. It's about time we saw one of those days. Unfortunately, it is coming to an end just as quickly as it kind of showed up. Clouds on the increase from the northwest and the winds picking up, continuing, I should say, as we've made our way throughout much of the day. Our lake wind advisory for the Flathead Lake has been extended through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning as we are anticipating to continue with these breezy conditions overnight tonight and into much of the day tomorrow. Up next, some mountain snow and valley rain. I've got all those details in the forecast on the way.
All right, thank you, Erin. Flathead County pet owners have the chance to get some low-cost vaccines and microchips for their pets at one convenient location this weekend. The Flathead Spay Neuter Task Force will be holding their annual World Rabies Day vaccine and microchip clinic tomorrow. It is a low-cost vaccine clinic usually for the general public, but you don't have to be low income to take advantage of this offer. But you must bring proof of previous vaccines to receive a 3-year vaccine, and all others will be 1 year. Clinic Executive Director Mimi Beadle says the clinic is on a first-come, first-served basis, but no appointments are necessary.
We do at these events anywhere from 150 to 200 animals. It's a first come, first serve. So dogs need to be on a leash, cats and carriers. Bring them all on. If everybody needs to be done, we can get them all done at one time.
And the event runs tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Don K. Subaru in Whitefish.
Salute to Service is brought to you by Flathead Electric Cooperative, your not-for-profit member-owned co-op.
Every school needs a variety of skilled people to give the very best to their students. Teachers, administration, and coaches, just to name a few. But one sometimes overlooked is a school resource officer, which is essential to keeping these students safe. On this week's Salute to Service, MTN's Jack Ginsburg introduces us to one at the Kalispell Middle School.
We haven't had a resource officer for a long time. We're now in our second year of having him again. He's just been a great resource. You know, first of all, just helping kids feel safe and staff feeling safe, especially after this past fall with our cyber threats.
Law enforcement officer Jordan Venezio is on his second year of serving as the resource officer for Kalispell Middle School. Venezio does a number of things at the school, from individual and group education sessions to presentations on a range of things to keep students safe. Venezio says he enjoys the work he does because he is able to influence the kids in the right direction in life during their important developmental years.
They learn a lot at this age, and it kind of points them whatever direction they go. So to be involved with that process and be able to give presentations and talk to them and be a resource for them at this age is something that's really important to me.
Venezio worked patrol for a number of years before becoming a resource officer and says there is a big change of pace, but he enjoys being back in a middle school environment.
You forget how much energy they have, that's for sure. It kind of feels like a jungle in here sometimes, but it's great to see. It's kind of an uplifting place to be around all these kids, so I'm really enjoying that part of it.
Principal of the school, Trig Johnson, says the kids admire Venezio and through that have gotten to see law enforcement in a positive way.
They're seeing the police in a very positive light, you know, proactive approach, which is great. So they're seeing that side of him too, and they're kind of saying, hey, the police they're not the enemy. They're here for us. They're here to protect us. They're here to help us.
In Kalispell, Jack Ginsburg, MTN News.
And another Montana news, Mineral County's declining economic situation has resulted in hungry bellies in Superior School classrooms. But a group effort today delivered hundreds of pounds of food to the school's food pantry. MTN's Augusto McDonald shows us how the community is coming together to feed students and their families.
As the number of hungry kids and families went up, so did support from Superior Schools.
When they're here, when they're under this roof, you know, they're our kids. And it's just easier to help take care of them than it is to worry about them.
Every student in the school district qualifies for free breakfast and lunch due to area poverty levels, but a lot of those kids are going home to empty cupboards on the weekends. This pantry works to change that.
And oftentimes, you know, the cavalry doesn't come riding in. You have to kind of be creative and come up with solutions for yourself. So that's all of what you've seen today. That's what this is.
These pallets here represent about 720 pounds of food that was just donated by Mineral Community Hospital employees. Now here we have spaghetti, we have tuna, we have peanut butter, and all of this food will be sent home to feed hungry students and families. Hospital employees have held multiple community food drives and expressed a desire to partner with Superior Schools to support the food pantry.
And our employees, time and again, are extremely generous when it comes to these types of projects.
Good job, Isaiah. Thank you, sir. Some kids have like the home life that they get to eat all the time and stuff. And some kids just don't have that. And the hospital giving the donation like this, it helps those kids too.
It is sad that, you know, there are kids in our community and everywhere that don't have maybe they don't have the money, or, you know, there's other problems, but like the community and the hospital and the school stepping in to help, that's a good feeling. So.
In the file cabinet behind you is a whole folder of recipes that we go through and we look and we see what we have here. And their homework is, what do you guys have at home? Let's pick a recipe that you guys can put this together for the weekend. You guys can feed yourselves all weekend, and your family for that matter. So it's future, it's an investment.
An investment that is helping kids toward a better future at Superior Schools. Reporting in Superior, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
And the hospital is hosting this food drive for the school through October, and donations can be dropped off there. The school food pantry accepts donations to its programs all the time, and you can call the elementary school office directly to coordinate a drop-off. Well, coming up, Aaron will be back with a gloomy weekend forecast, and later a husband and wife are challenging Senator John Tester for his Senate seat in next year's election, but are running separately. We'll have that story and more coming up on KAJ.